All right, House, we wanted to just quickly dive into over-unders with the NBA again. We're in day 10. We don't know what's going to happen tonight, but there's already been some movement. There's been some regrets. There's been some self-congratulations. One of the things that's really moved, Memphis, the over-under for them has dropped from, I think it was 47.5 when we did the podcast with Russillo a month ago. It's now 44.5.
Oh, wow.
And it's not looking great for them. And we were wondering in that West carousel, who was going to be good, who's not going to be good. Was somebody going to get nudged out that we weren't expecting? And Memphis has had some injuries already. Verno's making just a ton of excuses. He's bringing up things that happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Poor Verno.
45 wins seems ambitious for this team. But that one jumped out at me. What'd you think?
I still, we all took the under. I think, didn't we all take the under on Memphis?
We all went under.
Yeah, nobody locked it though because there's just too much variance. We haven't really seen Ja get going. He hasn't been up to his level yet. We've seen it in fits and starts. But when is the team going to be healthy? That's the thing. We keep saying, well, let's see this team when they have all their guys. When is that going to be? When is Triple J's back? Is he good? Like how good is he going to be? Kennard still dinged. Like when are we going to see that team and with all of its strength where they're able to get on a stretch and run it on out? I'd play the under.
Do they seem as special as they did 3 years ago just because the league's so much more talented? Like their nucleus, which seemed really cool 3 years ago, now I look around League Pass and it feels like 15 teams have a cool nucleus. And I just don't see them from a talent standpoint swimming in the pool of some of these other teams. So that was one. We both had Atlanta over 36.5. That's dropped to 35.5. You just watched them twice against your Wizards. What were your thoughts?
I don't know what's going on. If the idea is they're experimenting with lineups, if there are injuries that I'm unaware of on Atlanta, like I haven't gone deep into the Hawks hive to
Hawks
see
Reddit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But David Roddy played 32 minutes last night and had the green light. He had the green light from Coach Snyder. They can't defend anyone. Jonas Valanciunas, what a guy. He already. I'm ready to crown him.
You got to trade him now. When can you trade him?
He's an amazing stabilizing force. He was openly coaching on the floor the young guys. So Washington played all three of the guys that they drafted in the first round in this most recent draft. I mean, Sarr actually looked pretty good. Sarr had a couple moves. He knocked down a couple of threes. Bob Carrington.
Pretty good. Like he was able to run in a straight line back and forth, or he made a couple shots.
No, he looked, decent. But this is the Hawks defense. Washington scored 133 points last night without really breaking a sweat. I don't know they had no answer for Valanciunas, and the Wizards, cut them to death. I'm worried about the Hawks. I'm worried.
I'm a little worried too because you shouldn't be losing to the Wizards.
Not back-to-back games.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. We like Brooklyn. It was 18.5 when we did it. It's now up to 20.5.
Sure.
And it makes sense from what I'm watching. They're super competitive in these games. Cam Thomas, who we made fun of a week ago, the guy's scoring. Defenses are like now gearing to stop him, and he's still getting points. So Schroeder. I don't know what they're going to do because the team's almost a little too competent, whether they're going to try to figure out how to sabotage that. But they've jumped out at me as like they were in the running for worst team in the league. I don't think they are. Right?
They play hard, and
they do.
And
Schroeder, easily could have beaten Denver, by the way, too. Their record, they could have a winning record right now.
Absolutely, no, they're live. If they keep playing this hard and their guys are committed, they're on the same page. They're playing hard for Jordy. I think that Jordy at some point management might step in and say, look, we need to take it, and we'll start seeing some rotations out of them.
Jordy, here's some Alibaba stock. Can you just play Ben Simmons in crunch time and hope the other team fouls him?
but right now they're live.
It's a weird team. Like they bring Claxton off the bench. the Cam Thomas stuff, some of the possessions with him, he looks like a 30-point scorer. And,
well, he
we made fun
to
of
be.
him on the over-under pod about how he's a good stats, bad team guy, but he was making, I might have to usher an apology soon.
Let's just let it play out a little bit.
Yeah, let's let it play out.
We're still in weird season right now.
The Bulls are up to 30.5, which matches the eye test.
Yeah.
It was, I think, 28.5 when we did it, but that it's a team that has a lot of professional basketball players on offense, and they're kind of a pain in the ass to play. I've actually been pretty impressed by them.
That's another team that's playing hard. They're not playing to tank, and I don't even know that they're necessarily auditioning assets for the purposes of trading them. I think they're going to try and play, and I think they're going to try and make the play-in. That's how that what we've seen so far. And they do have talent. I mean, part of the case that we discussed with Russillo at the over-under pod was like, what's the rebound for Giddey? What's good Giddey look like? He's got the keys to the car. He looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, they, conversely, like when you're watching Atlanta, and I still like that. I'm not ready to give up on the Hawks yet, but they look like kind of a mess. The Bulls do not look like a mess.
Yeah, right. The interior defense for Atlanta is an abomination. Literally, if they should trade for Jonas Valanciunas, that they might win. 45. They're.
Well, I don't know if you know their defense.
They just don't have a body.
The Cavs, one of our great ones.
Yeah.
What did we have them before the year? That was like 48.5.
It was in the high 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 48.5. That is up to 52.5 on FanDuel. And then if you go to the division, which I am proud to say I am a Cavs division ticket holder because I was in Boston making FanDuel bets like a month ago. The Cavs are now minus 140 for the Central. The Bucks are plus 270. The Pacers are plus 340. And I got to be honest, I don't think those Cavs odds are. I actually think those are pretty good odds. I think they should be like 2-1 favorites, right?
Sure. The way this was the thing. This was the idea coming in, and why we were so bullish on them. We were like, let's see Kenny Atkinson with this team. Remember how Kenny Atkinson had wings, how he nurtured wings.
Let's see Kenny Atkinson with like a healthy Garland and a Mitchell who knows he's going to be there, and a team that's been together for 3 years. It looks great.
Mobley and Jarrett, and him empowering Mobley especially. Like you can't overstate how impactful his assertiveness has been thus far.
What do you think a division parlay of OKC, Cleveland, and the Celtics is? All three of those to win their divisions. What would your guess be for that?
Is it
OKC, Cleveland, Boston?
Can you get it to even odds? A tiny bit better than even odds?
What if I told you it was plus 268?
Oh, wow. What am I misunderstanding about this?
The Celtics odds, they're still only minus 210 for the Atlantic because people still believe in the Knicks. And then OKC, because of Minnesota's in there, they're only minus 220.
Oh,
and those odds seem crazy to me.
I agree with this.
What would have to happen for OKC not to have the best record in that division?
I had both of those teams winning their divisions in the minus 400 bite. Like, we've seen enough. Like, we've only seen 5 games, but that's enough for me.
Totally. I was really surprised by that. All right, a couple more over-unders because this is really fun. And we haven't even gotten to the super fun one yet, and I can't wait to discuss it. Denver still holding tight at 49.5.
Oh, under.
It was 51.5 when we did the pod.
Under.
That seems they're going to win 50 games. I don't see that at all.
You're allowed to curse on the Bill Simmons podcast. Fuck no, they're not winning 50 games. What
would have to happen? Like Westbrook would have to have like a complete career resurgence.
They have one of the worst benches in the NBA. They walked in like, this is disrespectful. Honestly, it's disrespectful to Joker for this tension between in the
GM and the coach.
Yes, and the personnel decisions that have been made. You can't use up the Joker, 3-time MVP, and we're going to just waste away their opportunity to really compete because they gave Michael Porter Jr. a giant goddamn contract. And this is the thing that kills teams in the NBA. You cannot pay shitty role good players like super effing stars, and that's what they did, and now they're going to pay the price for it.
It almost sounds like you have personal experience as a fan with a team doing that.
15 years worth.
15,
longer.
40.
Well, the most recent 15 years, though, of Arenas, who immediately
Does that
hurts
include
his
Andre
knee.
Blatch?
I mean,
that was my favorite. You guys amnestying Andre Blatch before his extension kicked in was my favorite NBA moment of the century.
But that was only a 3-year contract. That was
it was still the best. What was better than that ever in the history of front offices?
I mean, Jan Mahinmi got a 4-year, $50 million deal.
Oh my God!
Go back and look. It's amazing. Washington's the best.
What was the trade when you traded the Steph Curry pick? It was for Randy Foye and Mike Miller.
Yeah. That's what it was. That was the trade because
and
we were
the
just
pick ended up being you could have had your choice
assets.
of Ricky Rubio pre-ACL injury or Steph Curry.
True. That's true. Those were the choices. Yes, correct. That's right.
Unbelievable. See, people don't know the NBA history. They think the NBA started when Kobe won his last title on the Lakers in 2010 and LeBron went to Miami. That was the start of the NBA. Other shit happened, including that. Clippers over under. One of my locks was Clippers under 37.5. Now they did lose to Portland last night.
Yes.
But their over has jumped to 38.5. And I still feel okay with my position. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I look, they play hard and they play defense. That's the thing that has impressed me the most with the Clippers.
Not last night.
Well, I mean, you're going to have bad spots schedule-wise throughout the NBA season, and who knows what kind of mischief folks might have got into. And there are always sub-stories about losses, but I was so impressed by the way that the Clippers played. They had
Golden State.
Yeah, that was.
For some reason, the Clippers have always played Golden State well. There's certain teams. Indiana always looks really good against Boston or really horrible. Like there's certain matchups that just seem to, for whatever reason, the Clippers do well against them. Lakers are up to 44.5, which looked a lot more enticing until they lost by 30 against Cleveland. It's like, yeah, this is what happens when you play young athletic teams. I still feel like they're going to be around that number. I'm glad I don't have that as a lock either way. And I guess it'll depend on the AD health. Here's one though. Miami, when we did it, I think it was 44.5. Now it's 43.5. They feel very trade-ish to me. I am on Jimmy Butler trade watch now. Like I'm just ready.
Didn't they basically announce? Didn't Pat Riley basically say when he publicly called out Butler as the summer arrived that he's essentially available?
Golden State or Houston, if you had to pick a team for him.
Oh, wow.
Just for being a basketball fan with no dog in the race.
Well, who can Golden State give Miami that helps Miami's situation in any way, shape, or form?
It's probably like Kuminga, Wiggins, one more contract and a couple picks.
I mean, those we want Golden State's, afterthoughts. I don't know. Houston is much more viable to me because they have like a bunch of young talent.
And dying to do a 3-for-1 too. Yeah, I hit that last week. Okay. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, poor Doc.
Their over-under is down to 46.5.
It's still too high.
I think when we did it, it was 50.5 or 51.5?
It was right around that 51-50. It might have been high 49s even. It was close. It was up there.
Where do you stand on the 46.5?
I would still take the under. I'm not hesitating. There's no reservations about it whatsoever. Every other game, it turns out it's once a week game. And
I named him that last week. Last year, everyone made fun of me. He's good once a week. And then he plays 2 other games.
It's too much. And honestly, I kept giving you a hard time when we were doing the over-under pod about talking about the idea of Giannis maybe, looking to take
you made me feel like a
somewhere
dick.
else.
That's what you did. You made me feel like a prick.
They have continued to invest in him. They've given him every extension he's been eligible for.
Yeah.
But that's not a competitive team. They have no answers. Their answers are to trade all of those guys. They need to start trading guys now. They can't wait.
Who wants their guys?
If there's any Brook Lopez, Brook Lopez as a veteran, like a 3-point stabilizing
force. To New Orleans.
Yeah. Right. Do it now. Don't wait. You have no chance. That team is dead. That is a dead on arrival team.
Well, it was 50.5 when we did the pod, so it's dropped 4 wins, which is a lot.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know.
The Oklahoma City's around the same. Orlando is still the same at 47.5, which I was really surprised by.
Why?
Because they look like a 50-win team to me. I thought that would have bumped up like a win. We locked in on them with locks for over 47.5, so feeling good. Okay, this is another classic. So before the year, the Philadelphia 76ers, over under 50.5. What do you think it is now?
47.5.
46.5.
God damn it.
So the Bucks and the Sixers have both dropped 4 wins in 10 days since the start of the season. And by the way, I think I'd like the under.
I understand. I went back to look at the sheet and I couldn't believe that I took their over. I don't know what I was imagining.
Weren't scared of the Embiid thing, and I was telling you that there were rumors about his knee in September.
Well, part of it for me, I'm sure, was the fact that I thought that Paul George and Maxey were going to be enough. I thought Paul George would be playing basketball by now. He's not.
He had the bruised knee when we did the podcast, to be clear.
Yeah.
And that's a 3-week injury.
And that had just happened. It happened in the 24 hours before we sat down and taped that pod.
Stop making excuses. You fucked up. It was a fuck up.
I did. It is a fuck up. I'm just saying, I imagine.
You know what else was a fuck up? Pretending that Embiid was on a rest program when he's fucking hurt. Also a mistake.
It's so weird. Why did they do that? Why say anything?
Because they didn't want to be embarrassed. Because they gave him an extension. He's fucking hurt.
That's what was their choice?
How about this? That they let him play in the Olympics. And it's like, well, that's not their job. It's the player. It's free will. The players get to do. Embiid and Kawhi going to the Olympics is one of the biggest jokes of this decade, that either of those guys thought that was a good idea, and that their teams had to pretend publicly that it was a good idea to go along with it. Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be good for you. It's good for your brand. Embiid should have been in a fucking hyperbaric chamber for 6 months.
Literally getting
training at
altitude.
Healthy. Like,
yes.
What were we doing?
Well,
and
here's
then the
Kawhi
thing. Thing's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's bad for Embiid in the sense of performing for the team that pays him and performing in the league that is, the true way that he's going to be compensated. But for he played great in some of those games.
Yeah, he did.
And there were some like genuine Embiid moments, and he has that medal now. And I do think that there was. We've talked about this in the past with these international competitions. Some of that winning dust might have rubbed off on him, being around those guys and watching how they did it. Like he hasn't been around very much winning dust in his career. And seeing him, he's on the floor when Steph goes off. Yeah. He's on the floor with LeBron. That all could ultimately pay off, because really it won't matter until April. But for the purposes of over-under, this is a dead under. And I'm going to lose my money.
You and I have been following basketball a long time. A long time. Too long. We remember too many things. I don't know what to do with a lot of the information in my brain at this point. He's had so many injuries that we have just seen this before.
Yeah.
When we saw it with Blake Griffin a few years ago. It's like you just start counting all the injuries and it's like, oh man, this isn't going to go great. There's been too many now. And I just wonder if he's at that point. And they wouldn't even tell us what the knee injury is now. We don't even know what it is. But he's had problems with both knees and he's gigantic, right? And at some point, you pass the point of no return, which is why it's so nuts that A, they gave him the extension, and B, it made a ton of sense why he would have wanted the extension, because maybe he knew he wasn't 100%. It's like, fine, I'll take one more giant, couple extra years.
Him wanting the extension makes perfect sense. I just don't understand enough about the dynamics for them to say one word about like what his health situation is or when he's going to come out.
I told you they were embarrassed. I really feel like they thought they could kind of slide around this and have nobody notice and be like, rest management, and have people go, oh yeah, they're doing rest management, and people getting mad at that instead of getting mad at the fact that Embiid is fucking injured.
It's so stupid. It's so I hold the brain trust for the Sixers perhaps in too high a regard. That's maybe the thing.
Sacramento is down to 44.5. Actually, that might be where it was. I don't have an opinion on that. San Antonio, who we went under on, is the same at 35.5.
No, I don't.
Utah,
I still like the under,
which I went under on. And you, what did you?
I went under. I definitely went under on.
Yeah,
on
we all.
Utah.
I think we all made it gone under.
That poor kid Hendricks. What happened to his leg?
No,
I
you
hope
went
that-
over.
Oh no, for Utah,
27.5. It's now 24.5.
Shit, that poor kid Hendricks. I hope he gets back. I hope that his leg.
That was awful.
I know,
never
that poor
seen
guy.
that. I've never seen that injury before. The way he did it.
Yeah, because it wasn't contact. He didn't come down on somebody's foot. That's what you expect to see in basketball.
It was
like
almost like when you're
forced
watching
injury.
Yeah, when you're watching Instagram reels and somebody's going to get their mail and it's icy out and their leg goes the wrong way. I've never seen just a basketball player. It was just such a fluke.
Yeah.
Felt bad for that dude.
I'm rooting for him.
Last but not least, your Washington Wizards. Over 20.5.
I'm so pissed. Here's the thing. This is the team that I thought they might have last season. This is like some professionals mixed with kids. The professionals set sort of the expectation. They lead the kids into, the possibility of just compete. Yeah. And the number was low last season. They added in the form of Valanciunas. Yeah, Valanciunas, I'm telling you, he was on the floor coaching Bub Carrington and coaching Keontae George. And it was amazing to see he's pushing Sarr where he needs to go. Now, Sarr and Valanciunas weren't on the floor very much at the same time, but like you could see him. It was such a beautiful,
so you think you're gonna
thing
retire
to see.
His number?
I'm ready to. When you
put him
see
next
a guy,
to the Big E and Bobby Dandridge.
He bought all in on. They said we're going to pay you. Come be this guy for this team, and he bought all in on it. And I just was. Now I'll tell you, it was very quiet in the stadium, and I was sitting. Big thanks to our good friends at FanDuel for the seats that I had.
Oh,
close enough to hear some of the actual dialogue. But man, I was so impressed by that guy.
So you're thinking I went under as a lock at 20.5.
They could win 21 games. They're still going to be one of the three worst teams if they win 21 games.
But it's irresponsible if they don't trade Valanciunas before the trade deadline because playoff teams actually need that dude. I can think of 4 teams right now that could use him.
You know who could use him? The Pelicans. Holy shit. What is going on?
They're probably not allowed to trade for him. Last thing, Celtics Pacers last night. The Celtics say no Porzingis, like you can get to the rim on them, right? So they started playing Kata in the second half to try to change some of that. And the Pacers were playing great. Celtics couldn't hit a 3. And it just seemed like one of those games. And Joe Maz, who I don't think I've done a harder 180 on out of any coach or manager I've ever had. Like, I fucking love Joe Maz. Did you see his thing about Katie Bakes and Beck wrote about it today for The Ringer that he thinks they should have basketball fighting?
Oh, yeah. I sure did
Joe Maz
that.
is the best.
I agree with him.
But Joe Maz was feeling out the game the same way I was watching it, where I was like, I know we're down 18, but I feel like we can come back. And just kind of stuck with this lineup, stuck with Kata, and the Celts came back. And all of a sudden they had a little, we're the fucking champs. Last 3 minutes, huge comeback. Tatum hit a big 3, send it to OT. And then the Pacers just made a couple. I mean, it came down to like Siakam at a 29-footer at the top of the key.
Yeah.
Which I will give him 100 times out of 100.
Sure.
And he made it.
Sometimes
we got a
those.
wide open shot from Jalen, who sucked the whole night, and he missed it. But it was weirdly a great loss. It was like a let's defend our turf kind of loss. And the fact that they looked this good without Porzingis, I like everything I'm seeing from them. It's really like this team is good. Well, like really, really good as a defending champ.
The sub story that I like also though is the Pacers as a potential thorn in the side for Boston because that playoff series was closer than what history is going to show. They were competitive, and their style of offense does give Boston. They're a rare team that can give Boston a little bit of trouble because of how Carlisle schemes up.
Well, what's interesting about them? And it's been the whole year. Like, they didn't have Mathurin in the playoffs last year.
Right.
Mathurin, if you watch them knowing nothing, like if you woke up from a coma after 5 years and you just watched the Pacers game, you would think Mathurin was like their alpha.
Sure.
Sometimes he's like, clear out, I'm going to fucking score here.
Right.
But the Pacers are good, man.
They're good.
I think you could make a case Orlando, Cleveland, and the Pacers, over Milwaukee and Philly. I think I would take all three of those as regular season teams. I don't think there's any question. But it was a really good game.
They're all going to finish ahead of Philly.
I'm super happy with the Celtics season. Then you watch OKC, same thing. Like they have depth, they're athletic, they're fucking competitive as hell. Like Chet just loves going against Wemby. That game was awesome.
It was awesome. I love so far what we've seen out of Oklahoma City in terms of a tiny click of maturity. I see a patience in them that I don't know that I saw last year.
It's because Jalen Williams is a little bit better.
He might be. Yeah,
and then Wiggins is a little bit better, and Wallace second year. And then Chet, he made a little bit of a leap. Like not quite the same leap that Paolo has been hinting at.
I saw some on the bench with Hartenstein talking to Chet. They clearly have a nice rapport. I wonder if those guys in their training camp before Hartenstein got hurt, like if there's like a mentor thing going on there, because Hartenstein, he's a big mother effer, a big physical guy. I wonder if he's imparting some stuff to Chet.
That's going to be an absolute bitch of a team to play in the playoffs. Like I've seen nothing. We like them as the 1 seed, division champ, best record, like every bet. I've seen nothing that makes me think we were off on that. I also like when they do the post games and the whole team is in the post game interview.
It's great.
It's a little 2001 Patsish. But yeah, from everything I've seen, the Celtics and the Thunder just seem like they're up here. It's a drop. Night to night, it could be 5, 6, 7 other teams, and that's it.
Yeah.